Welcome back. We've got a
Yay! And there's good food too! Navi... Ooh. Paimon's already starting to forget...
Oh, that voice.
Oh, Mona?
Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
Mona?
It's you two. What are you doing in Fontaine?
You should ask your dad. What are you doing, Fontaine?
Mona?
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to just see who they'll meet on the road.
Still, we didn't expect to see you here.
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out first. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadter surname?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me as her disciple that the first step to being a great astrologist's pupil was to change that name. There was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes. To my surprise, however, Magistus is not the name of some ancient house or clan.
It isn't?
Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a boast in your name. Wait, are you gonna have to put that into your genealogy as well?
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Astromancer
Whoa,
Baltic
that's a
Resistance.
long one. Does it also mean great or something?
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great Scholar of the Stars. Just take it as a title specific to astrologists.
Thrice as great? That's so petty.
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually, but when she took me in, she changed her name to Trismegistus.
Talk about excessive.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology more deeply.
Triple Strain Tower or Triple Typhimon?
Terrible! Ugh. But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona? You're from Mondstadt, right?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dornman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while, after which I settled down in Mondstadt City.
Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we know you won't be dissolved by Fontaine's waters.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird invited. The invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone expected Fontaine to be in this much trouble.
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona? Just tell us what you think as an astrologist. Your word would go a long way to make things more certain and less scary.
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of Fontaine, even that of Altivat. Ascertaining this is akin to reading the fortune of the whole world. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call me an astrologist, but a visionary. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a powerful visionary. Its contents involve the fate of the world. Disregarding it would be a mistake.
A visionary? Sounds really powerful and all, but does such a person really exist?
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something similar.
Can we get in touch with your master?
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right, I'll help you. It isn't often that I see you with such a serious look on your face. I'll tell you once I hear back from her.
Thanks, Mona. You're amazing as always.
Oh, well, this is something only I can do after all. So yes, your praises are quite welcome.
That's the greatest of astrologists for you. Of all the people we know, you know the star
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. If Paimon hadn't spoken for you, it'd be you getting all the weird looks. The things Paimon does for you.
Thank you, Paimon.
That's more like it. Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling kind of sleepy. But it's time to get up, traveler.
Right. Let's go see me. I hope everything is going accordingly.
You're here! Finally!
Is something...
Monsieur Neurvalette and Lady Farina, they seem to have gotten...
Oh? A dispute?
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims.
Farina? Farina?
You mean... they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not have it happen again. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature different images that seem to correlate to the prophecy.
The prophecy?
The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this either?
I don't. I've never seen such slates.
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about it, it should be you.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
So you've been watching me all this time, have you? I didn't think you were that type.
You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take care of it. There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
princess standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling. She didn't seem in the mood to care if we were listening in or not.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh, you noticed.
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep refusing to engage?
Need to make her understand how to start.
Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is her attitude. We may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice but to speak.
Oh? Like what?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial.
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions.
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties, and then do what we can. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must prevent the prophecy from coming to pass. This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious, and so we must take a chance on this.
Alright.
But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Oh?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what family should do. Sit and enjoy a leisurely time together.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh,
Correct.
you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot. So, let's invite her to explain in detail. A round of applause, please.
Yay! Congrats.
Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I
Hunting?
recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette...
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. Does that count?
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work.
Oh.
They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal implement will also be necessary to deal with the prey. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can count on our techniques.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker if I do say so myself.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish.
Calm and steady.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the forest, they can attract others of their kind. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind will follow them all the way to the trap.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle trap would be ideal.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device and the type of implement we need. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often exceedingly thin.
So are we going hunting together?
No.
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god, a being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that's what's going on. Sounds very interesting.
Okay. I can't bear to see the trial. I want to see how it plays out.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience. After all, you're the most reliable person in the, did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't, Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's that voice? But there's no one here.
Divisionary?
Aw, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are familiar.
The voice from the sky, You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim.
Oh? What the hexadrome?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesized will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the
In
things that you
public?
shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about? It all sounds...
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only
That's
guide,
tea
no
anymore.
matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do is to play your part. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
The voice. It's gone.
Mission. How strong is Alice? I want to know.
Alright. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take... Not all Fontainians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make the...
Did she have pink?
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I'm in full support of her view.
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but... Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the gods to be all-knowing, right?
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... Well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But they must really stay in shape to live so long.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say when or what that would be, though, so perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon, are you two all right?
Oh,
No.
we're fine. We're just a little down right now. It kind of feels like the end is coming, you know?
I see. I feel that same sense of desperation, too. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen, it cannot be swayed. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Astrology is eternal and rational, but fate may not be. It is cruel, but it can also be beautiful. Perhaps that's what En was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing out before you is not yet set in stone. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't struggle to the last, then how can we face the end when it comes?
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. The moment I start talking about work-related, it was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are struggling in the same way I did. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. But also kind of sad, too. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's go. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Aslan. No, it's new Stan. I didn't really like that. I thought it was fun.
Huh? Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its my recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blinded friend. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using. Ugh, seriously? Well. We're here!
You wanna get something to eat? Like right now? Shouldn't we be more like worried about what about to happen?
Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it, despite the...
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are
hello.
you here to buy cake too? It seems
Wait, did he really say...
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. It's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
Hi.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. I'm sure this cake will be delicious.
It's the same cake that we had with...
It's more delicious than last time. And the flavor gets even... Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here.
What is this build-up?
Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Hi, Charlotte.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
Ha! You've got some nerve!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you.
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon.
Oh, Paimon knows.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
A friend of ours met you a while back, and when she met...
Ah, so you know Miss Mona as well. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an
Huh? So you're...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography.
Yeah, are we even...
Why not? If I...
Oh, in that case...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to... Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
See you, Charlotte.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example...
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, so in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. That sounds a bit sad, but I've always believed that it's best to do what you enjoy. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would wind up writing would truly be timeless. And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the various nations as soon as possible. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic, but I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that I was born to be a journalist. But anyway, that's my answer. And on that note, I'll get back to my preparations.
That's so nice. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
The sea? Okay. Wow.
The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking.
Yes?
If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow, where would we go and what would we do? No, Paimon should ask, if you could choose, what would you like to do?
Just like how to say.
We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we've always been doing?
Yeah, but, you know, it's what we enjoy.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you... But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's...
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais...
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared the incident a small-scale riot.
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the prophecy.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary. But the moment people feel threatened, gods are also the first to be blamed.
So what happened after that? Is Farina okay?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this. The Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize that she had gone missing.
So, you mean she's still missing?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her, but we don't have any leads yet. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could ordinary people do to her? Good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to...
Don't worry, this is more...
Is that so?
Okay.
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poitou then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic. When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, it would be hard for her to ignore. Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson. Huh. Well, what do you think? Paimon, in that case, there's not a moment to lose.
Become a good detective now, Paimon.
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Okay.
That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects, come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the arts. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Say Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there!
Huh?
Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans. That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her.
It's so dead quiet. It's kinda scary, actually.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to
What?
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way. I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled.
They still haven't given up, right?
Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial...
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
Farina, you've been asked for long. Give it a moment to share about
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
You can still just confide in someone. And just say to me, I'm your what you call witness.
A witness? Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case...
Sid. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Oh? What is she going to do? Oh? She gave up?
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear...
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson.
it is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself.
There are two shadows.
But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice!
This time, I will protect you.
Oh?
Applaud and rejoice! One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Oh?
Is
Thank you, Your Honor.
that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and
I can't
fated
speak.
opponent.
I have a mean voice. I'm sorry. It's okay, Farina.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the settlement?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the—
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Sorry about that.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
Thank you.
As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
Because my mission was to give you one last chance. Each time you favorite us before I'm to the stage.
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't it... Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Hey, the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Can we keep on with the teams that log?ในที่สุดก็ยอมกินสักทีไม่ให้ขนมไปก็ไม่ยอมกินก่อนนะ
กระโปงมันเป็นเนี่ยทุกวันเลยอ่ะทำไมอย่างนี้ครับพี่ไม่กวาดเองไปให้แม่มาทำให้พี่โจมันนะ
我喜欢他，我是我拖地，不拖不行，这脏死。弟弟为什么？弟弟去拿拖把，让弟弟。那不要买土车，那个老头。我操！他在直播。啊？在直播吗？
Alright, I'm
The
done.
words of someone as extraordinary as a witch.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted.
Oh?
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the god of justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, and if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That doesn't sound right.
That's not right.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervlet?
Instead of Archon, could just be a curse here.
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and god.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I... Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the—
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created.
Oh, you can't hear my voice?
You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
It is better. Is this better? Jag har hört från by Farina, we give him as how as an
My
Archon.
power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
Can you hear me now, Sophie?
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was tired.
I can hear myself
Still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you
Can
loved.
you hear me? Still?
Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors?
Okay, thank you, Sophie. I didn't know that my mic was off.
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be
My
such,
day's been going
then
great.
what grounds have you to say that I'm
I've
not
been
actually the real
enjoying
deal?
this dramatic theater so far.
Yet another argument. How can we refute her now?
How about you,
Seems like
Sophie?
She really doesn't want to give up.
She's in our the kills again, then it's hardware review. Oh yeah, no. Pretty good? That good here.
That doesn't...
I don't stream every day, but lately I've been doing it pretty often.
It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to...
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor,
about
you
3
must
weeks
still adhere
now.
to proper procedure.
I'm still pretty new.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really...
Oh, thanks for the follow,
I'll
Sophie.
speak out of turn.
Thank you.
I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of the seawater? If we were to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh,
I
and
wonder
must
how long
remind
have I been
you
using.
that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve.
Upcoming game.
And choose the
Let's
simpler
see.
path of admitting guilt.
Not
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina
but
has governed Poisson for many years.
I do like
guess
playing
her suggestion is
Overwatch,
valid.
and I did want to play with my
If
boyfriend
Lady
soon.
Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
Oh? Farina?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
I'm from Thailand. What about you? Where are you
Well,
from?
of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it. That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Oh? She touched it!
Hey!
She touched it! Oh.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved!
Oh, California.
Will you believe me now? I really am your
Nice.
Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Miss Siegewing? If you're present, Miss Siegewing, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siege, Win? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewing.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
I actually draw and read the
Thank you,
model
Miss
myself
Siegewing.
too.
Lady Farina,
I'm really
you may
proud of
return
it
to
too.
the defendant's stand.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I
Thank
didn't get
you.
dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... you...
Ooh. Oh, hi. An animator and VTuber.
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. What happened just now didn't prove a single thing. Think about it. How can you conclusively
I want to
prove
stay,
an Archon can't also
self-made.
be affected by the
Sorry, Sophie.
primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water? Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
Titty and titties.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't
Yeah,
think there's any way left for
Athens.
Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
Farina?
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
I will, after this, please. Just let me watch the show. A bit.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
Yep, hold on. It's about to be a teledramatic part.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
What's most strange is the artist's name? The Hydro Archon.
Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratory seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission, Father is...
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't that mean I've come too late?
It's not too late for time to shine.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
This looks like the continent's divine power turning ocean into human
I
being.
believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other three...
Stainless cover on her friend. Okay. Alright. The real event.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing? The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we?
Let's see. Verify the truth.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
Okay. The history of the future. The judgment upon them.
That doesn't sound... That doesn't...
Shouldn't
That doesn't sound...
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and... It's not as simple as falling into the sea. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
That doesn't...
Eh?
That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater. If we hadn't dealt with it in time...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to... The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we...
Huh? Oh man.
Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
The first letter that contains an
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also...
Indeed.
The second slur revealed that the crown was circulation for
and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all... Did Paimon get all that right?
Yep.
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, when we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make it...
Okay. This is getting intense.
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her conscience. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe it
could be. Oh?
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come.
By fighter. This?
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Whoa. What is happening right now? It's the well. Shy? Oh, it's still going. It's still going. It had retreated for now, but
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That
Why?
whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of a...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he... Anyway, now that we know that this...
It is too late.
What do you mean?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can. We've come so far.
Indeed. That's not... I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Oh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
In the corner that God couldn't guess.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide.
There's still better faith even? Even if the prophecy is filled? Farina.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina?
Farina! No, I still need answers.
Huh? What is this place? Who are you? What is all this supposed to mean? Farina?
You...
Sorry.
Didn't sound like you at all.
That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor, why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydro Archon, alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Farina, are you okay? Are you back to her now? Go ahead. Talk to Farina.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility.
Have to find a way. Turn this light off.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Odds reveal.
Settle down.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
No. Ticket. Have to be seated though? Scene run before a mirror, Farina. Eh?
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh?
Mirror me.
The prophecy.
What prophecy? The people will all be dissolved into the waters.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't...
Yes, it will. And that is why...
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world. I will tell you how to save everyone.
Oh, so there's still hope. As for the suffering, well, I will admit, but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales,
with all the people of Fontaine on one side and my pain on the other.
I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has...
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure. So, how long am I...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stick, but I promise you, all...
A trial, huh?
Okay. Scene 2, Ascension Speed, Farina. Oh, wait. I didn't saw that. Hold on.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Verena de Fontaine, your new Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any... This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just...
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of... Right. Mirmi said that I just need to calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm fated to play. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
Oh.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine! There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
Act 3. Opera House, Farina.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Huh?
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Oh, I'm afraid. All right. Deoteria, is it?
You remember? He's doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek it.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future...
You're such a gentle and wise god.
Oh, so she was... Wow. Farina.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it,
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they...
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all.
Oh, goodness gracious.
The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. All right.
Sinful Opera House Farina. We still at the Opera House? Again?
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for...
that.
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear loyal citizen.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological...
Understood. Keep monitoring. I don't think I let anything slip today. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted.
Scene 5, Opera House, Farina. So that's why she was such... Since 8,275 of her house for you.
Lady Farina, it's... I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria. Almost...
And what a fine family yours is. What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A man of...
Oh god, Farina.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? I want to tell someone. Anyone. I've conducted so many investigations across the century. All I can do is keep heart. I must.
Farina and us, right?
Farina, you don't have to although I don't know what you might be keeping.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. And if to that... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected... No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance.
The curtain fell, Farina. It's over now.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of—
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a human voice. It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem. Alas, your understanding of— In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy— My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice, but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be—
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But—
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked.
Awesome.
Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain—
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as you at last, in the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living, you are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
It just had to be done, hasn't it? Thank you, Farina, for all you've done. From this moment on, please live happily as a human, just as I wish we could. It's raining right now. He is very sad, alright?
I, Iudex Neuvillette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven. Water comes.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive...
It's time to end this. We must... I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice, the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast, come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Oh my god. Oh wow. I am bewildered.
Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon. I shall look for an opening to I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Guide us. Midnight, Phantasm!
Settle down! The tides beckon. The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
Oh. Oh! The military.
Bow your head. I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within. Silence!
Oh my god, this song go hard. Oh? Did we kill it? Who are you? Wait. Sorry.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point being?
Well, being that this pet, so what sort of person is your master? Well,
Oh, right. So his name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So master isn't sufficiently famous.
The foul?
Still nothing?
The visionary?
Well, how about the visionary?
Girl. Right
Is that
atop?
Ooh, that one we've heard. Rhine Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh.
Right, Doctor.
So you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine Daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait, didn't you also mention a
Actually, never mind that. That the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such,
The Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
It's natural.
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne.
Huh?
Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
The people. They are.
Help! Over here!
Don't run him over. Oh. The seawater. It's. Whoa. What is the fortress?
Initiate emergency rescue!
Oh, is that ship?
Hurry!
It's that ship we saw in the storage room.
Hey, lend a hand!
Feminine.
Look! The water's receding!
Oh.
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Wait. Oh.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Melusines.
Whoa.
The soil renewed. The Svina di Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently old soil can still give birth to new bloom. Skyship Winglet, boon or bane of the Fontaine research. The various disputes that people always call the first.
Oh.
Wow, Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The
Yeah.
value for these big scoops lies. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship.
Paimon's curious too.
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different.
That's something. But it was some. What happened to Farina now? Will she be Finale.
Navia!
Oh, it's you.
Hey, Princess!
I'm here to update myself on how.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented. Our residents are hard at work.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. But if you don't mind,
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible.
that would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Forget it. I'm sure.
I see you're the same as always.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me.
Or, of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up and smile.
Sheesh.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence. Also, not to brag, but I'm...
Wow, you...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of...
Whoa, you're well informed.
That's a...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was... What? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got to...
Stay safe now. And tell me...
I care about this, but I care more about Farina. What happened to Farina? Farina de Fontaine. What happened to her? Is she immortal now? Is she just a human being? No longer.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic...
Looks like you've been missing it.
Duke! Did you...
Of course.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored...
No need to thank me.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her...
Sir, please don't...
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. The boat that brought about the... Still, if I might add...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of...
Really?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, two solo...
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this?
No.
Ah, siege...
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure.
Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been?
Same old, as you can...
Other than that flying ship.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through.
You're too kind, sir.
I see.
He sure did win.
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good...
Oh.
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave the...
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time.
Maybe? All right, last stop, the docks.
Rometry Harbor. Oh, here's where we first met Farina. Yeah, the lift here is always so late. Like, come on. I'm just gonna jump down myself. Live here. It is unbelievable. What's that? Oh. It's the family.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the other.
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket? What sort of gadget? It's a wondrous trick of friend. You could
Lady
just make a friend
Fafara.
like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant?
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact?
Oh.
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic show.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
I mean...
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with...
Lynette, could you...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of... Father says that you did a great deal during the latest...
That's all right.
Oh, I guess after Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Nervillet opened negotiations during...
A diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised. It could have been done as an apology for the... Furthermore, Father did also lend...
That's true, but this...
I would agree, but
so there's...
I suspect you'll have to ask him...
but back to the top...
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of runs...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Oh?
Father!
Daddy?
Well,
Oh,
what
sorry,
do you know?
Daddy?
Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance.
Are you going to take the gnosis?
That is our duty, as don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire switching my masks is something well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners.
Thank you.
A vision. All right.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about it. The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you...
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must be life. All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see what Neverland's doing? Of course he's not.
Oh my god. He about to go down. The foreigner beat us too? Is that still a proper serious place then?
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neverland! Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time this hour.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Miss. In any case, you came at a good time.
Aw, Paimon's glad. Alright, let's have it then. How was...
It-
First 30 seconds of info from the Disney Fontaine.
Whoa. So that's what Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the... But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Aegir, but so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which, in other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and the.
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the... Yeah! And in a...
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny early, we guessed that there might be some...
No wonder the house. So regarding this specific issue, I was just In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on.
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here. I can finally catch the scent of your power. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons. But with something very similar. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
remains. I've never.
According to your parlance, I believe.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the.
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young. And I have never returned to this. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to.
Master never mentioned them to me. If you're interested, though, I could ask him.
Next time, you will.
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own.
Oh?
That's what she told.
The remains of the... So that's what the no-seas actually are. Paimon just thought...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special.
And she said that it would bring misfortune.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be. I guess that you might already be familiar with this concept. That means that the no-seas, which are exceedingly element compatible and... I wonder.
Like, no, let's not... comparing the traveler to the dead third. That's what you say, but this topic's still. What's child?
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind.
Alright.
Yes. All.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a.
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. And what ultimately is the.
Masquerade of the Guilty. Quest complete. Okay, so it has been a long journey. It has been a very long journey. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for any lurker in the chat. And bye bye. Thank you for the follow, Bell. Thank you, thank you. I was about to end stream. I'm really sorry. But yeah. I'm doing great. Thank you. I was about to end stream. I just finished the arc. And I just finished the arc, and yeah. Thank you, Little, for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's Little One. Okay. Hi, I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the follow. Let me just readjust the camera. Okay. Alright. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours now. I have to really go. I'm really sorry. But I enjoy my stay here. I really love the story a lot. I really do. Genshin really outdid themselves this time. Alright. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye now! Oh my god. That was such a long stream. Jesus Christ.